The following program is presented by the HTM Podcast Network.
Hey, it's Mighty Joe Morin here, back with another episode of Turnbuckle Talk, a special episode of Turnbuckle Talk, an interview episode. Of course, Turnbuckle Talk is brought to us by collarandelbowbrand.com, where you can go and get 10% off using promo code JKPodcast. So you can get 10% off, not just one shirt or a hat, wherever you get to go crazy on that, and you get 10% off your entire order, so make sure and check them out. But today, I have a very special returning guest. It's been a while since I've talked to Mr. Franco Varga, who is currently doing stuff with Title Match Network. He has spent nearly a decade in the professional wrestling business. Of course, the biggest wrestler ever. Welcome back, Mr. Franco Varga. It's been a long time, brother. It's good to see you again.
It's always, it's always the best intros from Joe. So I appreciate it, Joe. Man, almost a decade,
right?
Professional wrestling. Yeah, that's rough. But no, I've had fun so far. It's every day in it. It's been fun. So yeah, it's been a heck of a career so far for me.
And since the last time we talked, I believe would have been the tail end of 2019, the world has become a very different place, my friend. And what have you done? Yeah. I mean, there was a good portion of time where I imagine you were doing some wrestling. I mean, were you watching television, movies, training? Are you a gamer at all? What have you been doing with your time?
So, when I spoke to you, I was really at the height of independent wrestling. 2019 was like a big year for me. I did a lot with Impact Wrestling. I did a lot of that stuff. I had a lot of tours booked. That was booked again for the UK, a tour there. Go back to Japan, all that. So all those things got canceled and pushed back to this year, and still haven't, happened because of the situation still hasn't changed. But no, I became, I've always had this list with my wife of like, I do these things around the house if I had time. And then we got lockdown, and I all of a sudden had time. So I finally got to the list, and I finally did it. And every day I was just telling myself, like, I need to stop making these promises. I'm sure every husband, boyfriend, or whatever goes through it. So just super awesome. The house was amazing, and she turned around and she's like, "We're gonna sell it now." And I after kicking and screaming and fighting and all that, I made that post, and I know everybody saw it. And so we sold it, and so that was my pandemic was a lot of kicking and screaming, a lot of drywalling and random stuff around the house that I said I was gonna do. And then there was like some rumors that I was moving to Florida. It's not true, but yeah. So I'm finally about to move into my new home, and excited for that. But the pandemic was weird. It was very weird for me. I did a little bit of voice acting. But for the most part, just working out, kind of, really trying to stay off social media as much as I could, because it was a really ugly time. Yeah. For here in America, Mm-hmm. And then I kind of just tried to stay in touch with the people around the world that I knew that I wanted to stay in touch with, especially the guys in the UK and stuff. So it was just a tough time for everybody. So, but yeah, that was another thing the pandemic gave me, was time to finally call people back and have those conversations that, just people. We lost a lot of good people. It hit me kind of tough when I missed a call from Animal, and I returned it. I said, "Hey, can I call you Monday when I get home?" I was on the road for a few indie shows.
Yeah,
and he wanted to book me for one of his things that he was doing in Qatar. And then next thing he passed away. So that one kind of hit me like I need to start calling people back, and I need to start making time. So
that was definitely that was definitely a big one. We had Brody Lee, and just it's been a tough time for the pandemic. I mean, just it's. Like, even just for myself, it's made things a lot more difficult. Podcasting, eats up a good portion of my time, but I still need to work a day job, and that has been pretty crazy. A lot of wrestlers that I've known, or that I still know, a lot of them have had to take on day jobs just to kind of make ends meet throughout this, just not being able to wrestle.
Yeah, no, fortunately I didn't have to do that, but I definitely reached out to a lot of my buddies that had to go back to the whole regular life kind of lifestyle. So yeah, I feel for a lot of them, but yeah, like a lot of the regular people, I finally had time to go through my long list of things on my Netflix list. It feels like I'll never get through the list, especially with my wife adding stuff. And then just there was so many apps that I felt like came out. There's Disney Plus and all this other nonsense, and then we even got antsy and went to Disney during the pandemic.
Wow.
And it was like it's like a ghost town. So it was kind of like a bittersweet situation where it's like there's no lines, but there's also it felt a little creepy, So like apocalyptic, if anything. But
For sure.
yeah, I just try to stay mentally. Just try to tell myself that everything's gonna be it's just the next shoe is gonna drop, the other foot's gonna but it never felt like it did. And then finally things started opening up and the phone started ringing and I got busy, a lot busier than I thought I was going to be in 2020. I actually thought, yeah, I'm probably not going to wrestle this year, so it's okay. I'll just get it next year. And I did a ton of wrestling in 2020. So, I had to stop and think to myself, like, okay, I need to appreciate this because I know a lot of guys never got the call that year or this year, either, so, yeah.
Well, you had mentioned briefly Netflix and stuff like that. I mean, what have you been watching? Because I know, like you said, Netflix, Disney Plus, a lot of these Apple TV Plus, a lot of these things have been kind of emerging and becoming popular during the pandemic. What has Franco Varga been watching lately?
So what I've been watching, super recently, I actually just got done watching WandaVision, which is like another craze. But yeah, no, I watched man, I just kind of fell into a lot of the new, anything Disney that remakes The Mandalorian, things like that. I was really like into those things. I went back and watched a few things, and then the big thing around my house was Friends. It's always on, so it's one of those things where I think forcibly I've probably watched like all 10 seasons 10 times. So not by choice, but it is what it is. And then man, I think I've just been. There's a lot of stuff that I want to see come back, but a lot of the Marvel / Disney stuff I'm super into it because they're doing such a great job. I know a lot of people fight them on it, but I think they did a hell of a job with The Mandalorian and everything else that they're doing. So yeah, I was hooked on that. And then not too much video gaming for me. I'm a big Xbox guy.
Nice.
But, around Christmas time, I don't know if you ever watched the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he's trying to find a toy. Mm-hmm. That's Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt like when I was trying to find my son a PS5, and I finally
like
got
everybody
one
else.
in the nick of time. I actually got one in the nick of time, and I just could not. Yeah, I just could not believe it. I was just it was just insane. So, but yeah, it's still to this day it's still super scarce. So I'm not gaming too much. I'll probably pick it up here in a few months, when things start coming out for the PS5 and the Xbox One Series X or whatever. It's a mouthful. So, I think they should just call it something else. Y box.
For sure, man.
No, I haven't been dabbling too much in the games.
Yeah, for sure. With myself, it's been kind of the same thing where I get to play as often as I can. But where work is busy, doing this has been busy. I do stuff with other networks and stuff now. So it's but it's a good problem to have to be busy doing this stuff. But the one thing that we talked about the last time, of course, I met you up here in Canada on the CWE tour. Do you still keep in touch with Danny?
Yeah, Danny and not as much, but definitely AJ.
Mm-hmm. He's awesome.
Sure,
that guy.
AJ.
That guy's awesome.
Yeah, that's my guy. I love that guy. He's awesome, and I think he should be on TV on multiple planets, let alone this one. So, yeah, he's very, very nice guy, and definitely deserving of a lot more. So, but yeah, keep in touch with him a lot. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Because like we had mentioned, the biggest wrestler ever, that line came from that tour working with Ron Simmons. I just briefly on that. I can't remember if we talked about this last time that I had you, but I mean, what was it just being under the learning tree with Ron Simmons? I mean, it had to be pretty special for you.
It was, and I tell him this all the time. So it was 30 days with Ron. Every day, learn something new every day. But maybe 10 days in, I was just like, hey, could you not say damn anymore? Because it's kind of damn annoying. But no, I just thought it was awesome when, you could kind of see he's a prankster. He does a lot of, plays a lot of ribs. So especially the nights that would be really big crowds, he just kind of bring the crowd to be like, hey, have you guys met Franco Varga? And he knows I'm trying to leave or do something else.
Yeah.
Or, trying to get a break or trying to get some food or something. And he'd bring all these fans over and then he'd just float on by, walk away and leave me with it. So, and I think it was his way of showing me that fans always come first. And that was a lesson that I learned from him. But the gimmick, he actually helped me a lot with that. Just because he told me, it took him 30 years to figure out that all he had to say was damn to get really over. And he did a lot to his body, throughout those 30 years that he regrets that, especially because he just says the one word and that's what he gets paid for now. So I feel the same way now. I think, I just did a show Saturday and I literally just did the entire match just to kind of, make myself laugh. And once I hit the catchphrase, it was all about the catchphrase. So I think it's slowly working for me in the sense of like, I can just kind of do those things and then hit the biggest wrestler ever catchphrase. And that's what, they go for. But it's always a great feeling to hear, 200 some people, 300 some people say it all with you at the same time. So it doesn't matter whatever's going on in their lives. They might hate the guy across the row or whatever. They're always so it's all, they might not like the person across the aisle. They might have all sorts of drama in their life and all that. But whenever I put those hands up and I say the biggest wrestler ever and they say it with me, it's just one of those things that it's just special. That's what pro wrestling is. It's an escape from actual day-to-day life. And I'm happy to be a part of it.
And for us as fans too, it's definitely, the same thing. Mentioned with him. I mean, the one word, damn. I mean, I've always, in over 200 plus episodes or wherever that I've been doing this podcast for, I've always been a big proponent for less is more. I see so many younger wrestlers, just feeling that they have to, do everything in every single match to get yourself
like
over.
You've been watching AEW.
Well, not as much as I thought I would have been, but there's so much, and I've always said, less can always be more.
Yeah, nothing against them. It's just, less can definitely always be more. I'm a huge believer in that. Absolutely. You don't have to do every move you ever learned every time. It's just doesn't compute to the average person who isn't training to be a wrestler and all that. So you have to be able to. And that's why I tell people, like, are you going to be able to remind this guy of the boss or the person that he hates at work by doing a bunch of flips and stuff? No. So that's kind of what you want to do. And it's kind of how do you relate in a way that translates every time to everyone.
Right.
So the stuff, you can do all the cool flips and stuff as long as you can relate, and sometimes it's kind of lost. So
another thing that you got to do, I believe, since the last time that I talked to you is, you've done a lot of international traveling, Franco, and that's must have been absolutely incredible. And I think one of my favorite places that you've had a chance to go to, and what I think is a potentially, right now, obviously not so much, but has a great potential to be a real hotbed of professional wrestling is in Australia. You spent some time over there. Outside of just, visiting and spending some time there. Just tell us about your time in Australia and, just the incredible talents that they have over there.
Yeah, it was a 2-week tour. It was wrestling every night for 2 weeks. It was super fun. And it was one of those things where, especially the first night and the couple shows in between that were the huge shows, and I had to kind of pinch myself because the meet and greet was just me, And the line was kind of long, and I was like, "There's no way all these people are here for me." And then, no, they were. So it was one of those things where like still took my time with everybody and kind of gave them the experience that they're paying for and all that. But I was like, wow, like you see these kinds of things for like Jerry the King Lawler, or all these big old school names.
Yeah.
But for it to happen to me, like the Australian fans really dig me. So it's one of my favorite places to wrestle. But very rowdy crowds. I talked a bunch of crap before I got on the plane, which was 16 hours.
Crazy, right? Yeah.
From 16. That's just from LA. So from my airport, it was 6 hours to LA, and then 16 hours to from LA to Australia to Sydney. But I was talking to crap for weeks, talking about I was going to do the kangaroo boxing, and then I saw the kangaroo, and that dude was jacked.
Yeah.
So I chickened out. And I just went to the petting area and just did a bunch of petting, and then I got to hold a baby koala, and I almost died. Those things their hands are super sharp.
Oh yeah.
So they didn't warn me at all. They just kind of, hey, you want to hold them? Sure. And they're like, oh yeah, by the way, this thing can kill you. So,
yeah.
But no, it was fun. They have a lot of the same things we have here in the States, but they're called different things.
Yeah.
Like McDonald's is Macca's, so things like that. So I was just like super intrigued with people always ask me like, man, you've been so many places, you've wrestled so many places. What do you do? Like what's different? Like, what do you do? Do you have anything that you do consistent everywhere? Like, is there a place you have to go? Yeah, McDonald's. I know it's not like
everybody eats at McDonald's. Come on, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not the most glamorous thing, and I don't eat McDonald's much when I'm here because whatever. I'm over it. But when I go to a new country, I have to see what's different at the McDonald's. So it's like a weird thing, but I have to. It's like
there's always that seemingly.
Sure, if I don't do it.
There's always seemingly like that McDonald's denial from everybody. Oh, I don't eat at McDonald's. I mean, dude. I mean, they used to say how many billions upon billions of hamburgers sold every day. I mean, come on, everybody eats at McDonald's.
No, yeah. I mean, I have eaten at McDonald's, but since maybe the last year I haven't. No, a year and a half maybe. Probably haven't touched it. No, for sure. But if I'm overseas, I'm definitely stopping at McDonald's.
Oh man, just another thing too is down in that area. It was well, you remember Tony Kazina from when you were in CWE, and. We had an interview with him, and I mean, it was so tricky. I mean, I've tried to talk to some other talents in Australia, but the time zone difference it's almost like it's almost a day and a half difference from where I'm at. So it's so hard to talk to these guys, and it's a shame because, like I said, I mean, that there's just so much fantastic talent in Australia and coming out of Australia. I mean, in almost every major promotion, there's Australian talent currently working. So I mean, they got some. I don't know what it is with Australia, but damn, there's some good wrestling down there.
No, top guys are coming out of Australia. There's a lot of guys that wrestle one of the best like heavyweights in the world, and he's coming out of Australia. So the UK, Australia, and America definitely heavyweight wrestling is, and of course there's some awesome guys in Japan too. So yeah.
Now one thing that I still see, you had mentioned when it comes to social media and stuff like that, you try and avoid it for the most part, and it can be tough. And one thing that I do still see a lot on, I don't know if you pay attention to this too much, but I still see a lot of this backyard wrestling and people doing stupid, silly stunts and wrestling with little to no training. Yeah. What do you say to people like that, man? What do you say?
It's okay to have a dream, but it is also... you have to remember that there's a lot of people before you and a lot of people after you that are going to want to do this for a living. So if you don't respect it, that's fine. Do it with your friends in your backyard. That's fine. That's totally okay. I'm not going to hate you for it, but don't put it out there publicly to be seen. That's when it becomes a problem. So you're not a professional wrestler. You're just a guy with the ring in your backyard. And it's okay. That's fine. Do your thing. But don't call yourself a professional wrestler. Don't call it a professional wrestling event. There's nothing professional about it. So it's okay. I'm not gonna walk into a hairstylist place and say, hey, this is how I like my hair cut, and I'm just gonna do it myself with no training and just sit down and start cutting hair. It's just I can't be taken seriously. I can cut hair. I've seen guys cut hair in the dorms or wherever they're at, and amateur wise, sure, but they're not gonna get a license,
No.
right? So don't call yourself a professional wrestler or a professional wrestling event. If there's, you're just goofing off. Hey, it's okay to goof off. Go get a trampoline, do everything you've seen on TV as safe as possible. I hope. If not, if there's a reason why they tell you not to do it. But
Well, that's one of my main concerns.
It's just labels. Labels are a big thing in the society now.
That's one of my main concerns. I don't want to mention his name because I don't want to give him any publicity. And you may already know who I'm talking about, because he always starts off with, "Hey, don't try this at home." Meanwhile, you're doing exactly that. And that's one of my main issues, that you're doing the stuff and then it's tied into the wrestling. As he had said, the lack of respect. That's the big thing that bugs me from being 30 plus years of following the professional wrestling business. I have a tremendous amount of respect for, all of those who, either wrestle in a ring or set up the ring and do shows. And when I see stuff like that, I mean, it drives me crazy. I mean, if you want to be a professional wrestler, go and get legitimately trained. Like in the United States, for example, I mean, you have Ohio Valley Wrestling. You can literally go essentially get a degree in learning how to professionally wrestle. You can go and do it if you really want to do so.
Yeah, if you paid attention to their product, I was there. So
yeah,
OVW is one of those places that I have a ton of respect for. They just went through some changes here recently. So it's one of those things where like it just got bought and everybody's kind of waiting to see what the changes are. And it's I recently did an interview about OVW and like why I'm not there right now. It's just the same reason why I'm not with WWE anything right now. Is just I don't want to do the contract stuff right now. Just because everyone requires you to move somewhere for some reason right now, and I understand the reasoning. It's just you want your talent to be near the studio where you film the most. And I just I enjoy my freedom right now too much to make any moves, make any changes. So but OVW is one of those places. There's so many really good schools that it just it's okay to get pissed off at these guys who don't get trained and don't take it seriously enough, because they have a lot of really good options and a lot of not so great options, but there's still options out there to get trained. There's no excuse. If this is your dream, great. But don't disrespect the business, because then we have a problem. So.
And we run into the injuries as well too, because I mean, a lot of these videos that I see, typically you'll see it's just something kind of stupid, and we cut away. But then you see the odd one where we see some injuries, and sometimes some really, really bad looking injuries. I'm like, it's so unfortunate, because like I said, if you really want to get involved in this business and really embrace what it's all about, there are so many great avenues and so many great people to learn from. I mean, some of them, we've lost recently to learn from. I mean, still, that's my biggest thing, is just seeing people want to be wrestler and then getting seriously hurt doing it. That's just, I hate to see it.
Yeah, I think there was a one pretty crazy video over the I think it was 2020 still, where it's just a ring in a backyard and you can tell the ring isn't leveled. Mm-hmm. And it was just a recipe for disaster. And I think he got up on the second rope in super tight, skinny jeans and jumped down and broke both his legs.
I saw that
in one
Oof.
swift motion. Yeah.
Oof.
And that's kind of like, unfortunately for him, sucks. I've had an ankle injury before, so I understand, like, sitting on the couch and crawling around the house and stuff. It sucks, but hopefully it's a lesson learned for that person, and also a cautionary tale for a lot of other people. Maybe I should, because that whole thing would have been avoided if he went to wrestling school and took it a little bit more serious than just goofing off with his friends. And the worst part is, like I said, don't put it out there publicly. You can go ahead and do that. Like that, we would have never saw that video if it wasn't on video. Like stuff like that doesn't need to be on video. You don't need to go Facebook Live for your 9 followers, and then it turns into a whole bunch of other trash. Like, it's just, have fun. It's okay to have fun with Bobby, Joey. Give yourself a bunch of weird names and go out there and paint your face and go in your backyard and do all that stuff. That's fine. That's fine. Don't label it. Don't try to pretend. Don't try to, like, once you try to mimic the label and the guys that are really putting the work to make a living at it, that's when we have a problem. And that's when, it's like spitting in the face of all the guys who put in hours and hours and hours and miles and miles of hard work in. So
Yeah. And speaking of hardworking, I mean, we're into 2021 now. What, things are starting to slowly, I know things are a little bit different there than here. Here, we've just recently just kind of started to, let some people back into stores, or where I'm in Southern Ontario in Canada. But what are your plans for 2021? I imagine mainly going to be pretty localized in the United States, right?
Well, yeah, 2021 is going to be kind of this another year where we're just holding our breath to see what happens. But yeah, I've had a couple tours already canceled. One in the UK, and I'm not really holding my breath for the Japanese tour in July. But I'm hoping. But just we gotta be a little realistic. So, but yeah, things in North Carolina. North Carolina, Florida, Georgia. I have a lot of things coming up. In Missouri, St. Louis, things like that. They're all opening back up, and there's a lot of things happening, and my phone's ringing a lot for those places. But
Yeah.
anything above North Carolina is basically shut down. So, and Maine. I guess Maine is the oddball up north for that. That's basically Canada, right? So,
Yep. Very, very close to Canada.
Yeah, Maine is the only other one that. Yeah, I mean, we don't. Some of us don't even claim Maine anymore. You guys can have them, but it's too damn cold. But no, I think Maine is definitely opening back up, so we'll be up in Maine in April.
Nice.
So it's just as they open up, we slowly start seeing things pop up. So yeah, I'll be as available as I was, or not as available, but I'll be as busy as I was hopefully in 2018 and 19. In 21 and leading into 22.
Nice. I mentioned at the top of the show, you've had, with the time off, time to watch TV and movies, to kind of bring back to wrestling. Or during the time, have you been watching much professional wrestling with your time?
No, I've actually kind of taken a different approach though this year with watching wrestling. I went back and watched a lot of specific people. Just to rehash my studying. I did a lot of different, styles of studying. And then if you follow indie wrestling, all the guys always do like this top 10 list thing. At the beginning of the year, you'll see me on a lot of those lists. I never make one. But I privately finally made one this year, and it's not anyone, it's not anyone that's still wrestling. It's more of a list of like, I want to have a conversation with this person. So it's like a 10 people that I want to just in wrestling sit down and talk to, and just kind of just talk to business now, how we can make the business a lot more profitable in the future and things like that. So yeah, I'm almost halfway through that list, thank God. So yeah, I'm as you can see, I probably look super tired because I like never sleep, and I'm always working on just working on things and stuff. So but yeah, so I set a goal, and it's halfway done. So.
Nice. You want to mention any of the kind of the names that are on your short list?
I guess like Tito Santana, definitely wanted to talk to him. He was one of the top, Hispanic baby faces of our era. Or ever really. So I just kind of like, hey, how do we move forward? How does someone who looks like me, basically, make money doing this without having to, need WWE. That's my main goal. Guys like Court Bauer from Major League Wrestling, guys like that, just, how do we do this? That's kind of the whole idea behind First Time Ever, it's just like, what can I do to give fans something special? And that's kind of what I came up with. Was First Time Ever it's an event that will happen quarterly, and it's always going to be first time ever matchups. You'll never see a repeat. There won't be any champions or feuds or any of that. So it's always the super show style events with first time ever matchups. You've never seen them anywhere ever, and first time ever. So in a nutshell, so that was something that kind of came up over the time. So yeah, I've been busy. I've been And then, of course, like the voice acting stuff, I definitely want to make more time now that the house is all built up, and I'm just gonna have my own little office and things again. I'm gonna actually be trying to dabble and do some more stuff. So yeah, that's another big project for me.
You had mentioned one thing, about the ability to be successful without ending up at the big three letters. What would you say to people that are kind of aspiring in that direction? Feeling that they have to get to the WWE to be successful. 'Cause that's definitely, dude. You're a prime example that you don't need to get there to still have a lot of success.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm very proud of the fact that I didn't need WWE, and it's not, and I'll be honest, it wasn't out of necessity. I didn't put my foot down and say I wanted to be there. I did for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I remember the day I had to say no, and I went in my car and cried, and I was very upset. But I'll never forget that day. But it just doesn't work out for the things that I want to do. I want to go overseas whenever I want. I want to do tours whenever I want. I want to take certain bookings and work with certain guys and do certain podcasts whenever I want. And you can't do that and be there.
Yeah.
So I know more than a handful of guys that are there, and they envy me, and I should be envying them.
It's weird, yeah.
So it's kind of like maybe I made a decent choice. So I always felt like maybe eventually I'll need to go there, but with the power of the internet and just everything we have, I don't think you need them anymore. It's not like the old days of they're the only game in town as far as TV.
Oh yeah.
Hell, the Facebook is TV for a lot of places.
Yep.
And a lot of fans, if they don't see it on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, it's not real. So and that's kind of where Franco Varga lives, is online. So I have God, how many people would come up to me super random, and say, "Hey man, I love the It Was Me Baby stuff," and like, oh, it's just another side version of the character, and it's only online, only exists online. It's not even like a TV thing. It's not only exists online. And oh man, I got to get a picture, send it to my friend. I can't believe I met the It Was Me Baby guy. And I'm like, you understand that this is me pretending to poop in toilets and not clean it, and that's the thing now. And I'm like, well, okay, here's your picture, but it's
Awesome.
it's the dumb things that, like, that kind of stuff would never be okay with WWE. It would never be okay. I'd probably be in trouble all the time. You had to make another post. You had to, so things like that. So I wouldn't see myself enjoying myself, and then it just wasn't the right fit, for my family and stuff. Like, if I was a single 21-year-old and brand new, starting out, and never had anything else, never had any other opportunities to do anything else, yes, go to WWE. Absolutely, please do. Yes, absolutely. I tell guys all the time that might be a good spot for you. But for me, the way it worked out, no, it just hasn't become an option. Just the way things are.
In the end of the day, I mean, you have to love what you're doing, right? And that dictates the choice that you make.
Yeah, the day wrestling becomes like truly feels like a job, and not just like a little annoying, but like truly feels like a job, I think I'm not going to do it anymore.
For sure, man. Well, speaking of...
But I will still do conventions. I will still sign stuff.
So. I mean, especially if the lineups are that long as they are in Australia, I mean, people obviously love you and they want to see you, so...
Yeah, I definitely would definitely do some conventions and stuff, but yeah, wrestling, if it does became like, felt like I was clocking in and clocking out, I just couldn't do it.
Well, speak of people coming to see you, before we wrap things up here, Franco, coming up shortly, where can people go to watch you do your thing?
Yeah, this Sunday, the February 28th, for the first time ever, Franco Varga takes on Suicide from Impact Wrestling, TNA, all those different letters they went through over the years, right?
Yep.
So the guy in the suit, Suicide. So I take on Suicide live on the Title Match Network. So just go to titlematchnetwork.com, buy it on pay-per-view, or if you miss it, buy it on demand. and it's live in North Carolina in Burlington. Awesome, super rowdy crowds normally. Same town that has American Lucha Wrestling, another place where you can see me. They're on Independent Wrestling TV, and then you can see me at Titan Wrestling pretty normally there since I'm the heavyweight champion there. And they're on the Cheap Pop Network, and then you'll see me sporadically things like North Star Pro in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm on the Independent Wrestling Expo #3, which is in Dallas, Texas, which is always a big convention. So I'm wrestling the Mysterious Q, a big Texas native Booker T guy, Booker T's first student. So
nice.
That's going to be a hell of a match. That's live on Fight TV, So, just trying to stay busy. Of course, follow me online. That's where I live. And making it super simple, just go to francovarga.com. Takes you to all my social medias. If you can't do that, just go to @FrancoWrestles on anything. I even got TikTok. Oh, what a year. I even got a TikTok.
Wow, even TikTok. So, look at you.
Yeah, what a year. I even got one of those. So after bashing it and not understanding it for a while and having my dad moment, what the heck is TikTok? I got one. So even follow me on there.
Awesome, man. All right, dude. I mean, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and we'll be in touch sooner than later because you're still one of my favorite people in wrestling to talk to. And, we'll definitely be doing this sooner than later. So thanks again for your time, sir, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
It's me. It's an honor to be the V. As you can tell in the background, we are out celebrating. That is what we do here at HittingTheMarks.com. And I invite everyone to continue to tune in to Turnbuckle Talk, but check out all our other shows. You can find that all at HittingTheMarks.com.
Run.